and that is arrow functions and ES6 methods. So that's all about all the very important methods that you need to know. So we start with map, we have filter, we have sum, every, find, reduce, includes, index of, and find index. Now let's move on to the next concept. Now next we have very important import and export, and this is a fundamental concept that you need to know whenever you'll be start learning or creating projects in React. Now in this video we are not going to go into much details, but I'll give you some very basic idea. So export is basically, let's say you are creating a module, JavaScript module, and then you want to use that module in some other places, as simple as that. So what you need to do, you have to export that module so that that module will be accessible in all the other places in your application. Now why this is very important in React is because in React you will create components, correct? Now you have components A, component B, components A, component B, component C, something like that. Now you want to use the component B inside of component C. Now to do that, let's say you created a module which is your function B component, which is returning something. Alright, so it's returned something. You want to use this component inside C component or inside this file, so you have to export this component. Now there are two types of export. One is export default, so you have to give export default and then the name. So here let's say I'll do B component, so I'm exporting this component as a default, and then we are having the named export. All right, so both are different. So for example, let's say if I do here export const and then some name, so this is another way of exporting. So this is a function and I'm exporting this one, and then we want to use, whenever we'll be exporting this component, we have to use that one in a different components. How we are going to do that? So whenever we'll be doing export, we have to import it. That means we want to use that one, so we use import and then we'll give the name of the component, for example some name. So let's say this will be some name, and from you have to give the path. So here this will be your path, and then for the default one you can basically change the name, so that is the main advantage. So let's say I'll do import, and instead of B component I'll give B comp, then also it will work, but it's always better to give the same name. So let's say you import this one from the path name. So path is basically your component path, and then whenever you are exporting and importing, then using this name you will be able to use this component inside this C component. So this is how you have to export and import, or basically the concept of using these two things. Now here you have to practice all of this too much. The reason is because the whole concept in React, whenever you'll be merging multiple components or using nested component, you have to do export and you have to use import. Now at the end we are having one more, and that is fetch API and async await. Now this is also a very important concept, that let's say you have to call some API data from an endpoint, so you need to know the concept of fetch API and async await. For example, let's quickly create a very simple one. So let's say what we can do, we'll take a div here and let's give a class name of list. All right, and here we'll do const list will be document dot query selector of dot list, and here what I want to do, and I want to do fetch list of data, something like that. This is my method. So let's go to dummy JSON and let's use some endpoint here. So use this component endpoint only. Now here I will create a method, so we have to start with async, because this is an asynchronous operation. We have to give the function, and this will be fetch list of data, and here you can take try and catch, and here I'll do log of error. Now here I want to call the API, so I'll do const response will be await fetch. So this is our fetch API. Here I need to give the endpoint, and then also you have to give the method. So this will be method of get. Then we'll do const result. This will be await response dot JSON, and then let's log this result. Let's see what we're getting. So we are getting products here, right? So now let's say we want to render this product, so we'll do if result and result dot products and result dot products dot length is true, so we'll do render products. This will be a function, and here I'll pass this result dot products. So let's create this method. So this will be function render products get products, and here what we can do simply we'll do here list dot inner HTML. So this will be get products dot map, and then we'll take item, and let's say I only want to return something like this, so we'll take a paragraph and I'll return here item dot title. Save it, and also we have to join this one, so we'll do join with space. Awesome. So now you can see that we are getting all the data. Now the motive is not to explain all of this. The main what I'm trying to say that you have to know the concept of async await, how you can call data, how you can use the fetch API. Obviously also will be able to implement the same using promises. All right.